So today I'll just be talking a little bit about Canada's Age Tech Startup Map. It's really an initiative to highlight just what's going on in Canada in the space that we call Age Tech, which really is the intersection of technology to benefit older adults and caregivers. It overlaps with other technologies such as digital health, med tech, and as well as others. And this is really an idea that we had some time ago. I was actually discussing it with a colleague of mine at the time based in Toronto, Rich McAloney, who's now the executive director of C10, which is a national innovation hub based out in Prince George, British Columbia. And we had thought it would be great to kind of just give a landscape view of what's going on in Canada in this space. And I think after we had our last competition, AgeWell holds a pitch competition for startups annually, we really saw an explosion of new startups submitting proposals and ideas in that last competition. And it brought the idea to the forefront that there's so much that probably arose even during the pandemic, and we want to be able to highlight it. And that's what we did with this map. So I'll talk to you about that, but just to kind of set the stage, we as AgeWell are focused on technology and aging, and I think it's important to identify the fact that there are a lot of preconceived notions about older adults and use of technology. We found through our own surveys that we've commissioned, many of those don't quite meet what people may think. They don't match expectations or the kind of notions people might have. Sure, there are definitely people that are not comfortable with technology, but more and more older Canadians are willing, interested, and eager to make use of technology in this space. So I think a lot of similar slides have already been put up. I won't belabor this, but what I want to highlight is that the growth of this sector and age tech globally is quite rapid. It's going to be continuing to accelerate. You just saw in the presentation earlier the fact that there's an increasingly severe shortage of caregivers that's not going to improve. And there and in many other spaces, technology can really step in to assist. We always look at technology as a part of a solution, not there to replace the human touch, but at the same time, it certainly has the ability to allow people to do things they want to do at home, but also to allow caregivers to deliver care in a way that's more sustainable for them. I'll very briefly give you an overview of who AgeWell is for those who are not familiar with us. We're federally funded. We are a national network that supports innovations and technologies benefiting older adults and caregivers. Been around for about 8 years. We've supported over 118 solutions being developed, as well as working with over 5,000 older adults and caregivers. We currently work with over 56 startups across Canada that are looking to improve life for older adults and caregivers, as well as obviously researchers, trainees, and partners across a range of sectors. And really for us, it's about connecting the dots to ensure we can achieve that mandate of improving life through the use of technology. So I think it's important for me to just quickly highlight 8 challenge areas that really the way we look at projects, startups in this sector. We developed these by going through kind of a national roadshow and surveying older adults. This was back in 2018 to identify the key challenge areas for older adults and caregivers. A lot of these are familiar to you. They may just have a different name, but it's all tied to things like aging in place, healthcare, health service delivery, healthy lifestyles, social isolation, or as we like to flip it, staying connected, and things like financial wellness and more. So when we did our map, we were inspired by some work that had been done by Karen Etkin, who is known as the gerontechnologist. She's done an age tech map that's categorized in this particular way. We want to look at the startups across Canada and see if we can put them into these categories to help people make sense of where there's activity. So what I do want to say as we start this off is this collection of startups is by no means the complete picture in Canada. And our intention is actually to continue to update this map probably every quarter and to ensure we keep adding the startups that we missed initially and that keep arising in Canada. But so yeah, just what I want to show here is that there are areas of need where we certainly want to see more innovation, whether it's financial wellness and employment, but at the same time, we are seeing some really significant work being done there, helping to create career opportunities for older adults and caregivers, but also to create more inclusive job opportunities through a startup like Open, which is a social enterprise that we were fortunate enough to support at its inception, where they're working with older users, but also users with mild cognitive impairment or early stage dementia. And they are getting a host of interest from industry and other sectors to help them develop their websites, their products in a way that's more inclusive. And at the same time, they create job opportunities for people that can then use their lived experience to ensure that these products are developed in the right way. So in other sectors, whether it's healthcare or technologies used to help with aging in place, we've seen more and more of that over the years. But we certainly want to see more, especially with the pandemic, when it comes to helping people connect with each other, helping older adults connect with their families and caregivers. We're living in such a large country that we always have to be ready to communicate with people across a wide span, but the pandemic certainly increased the challenges of isolation, and things like lockdowns came into place. And it's important to leverage technologies that are out there, but also to see if there are ways we can create technologies that are going to be able to do that in a more relevant way for older adults, and where needed, in a way that's more appropriate to their needs, their comfort with technology. And we're looking to see more of that develop as well. So, I mean, this picture gives you, like I said, a snapshot. We certainly expect it to grow significantly the next time we put this map out. I think the first one was really about getting people's attention, and I think we've done that. But to give you a sense of where these startups operate in the continuum, like I said, there's an overlap with other sections or other sectors, but it's also just important to look at the fact that there's a way to look at older adults where, irrespective of your age, you might be at a different point in terms of your health span and your autonomy, but technology has the ability to help increase that range of autonomy. And we've seen technologies such as wearables to help look at different healthcare measures that can be used with healthcare providers, but also just for yourself. We've seen technologies that improve the ability of mobile device users or wheelchair users to get around by giving them additional sensors around their powered wheelchair. We've also seen technologies such as Novalte, which has been based in Nova Scotia and has done work with Northwood, also as part of a project that we were able to fund that increases people's ability to control their lived environment, which on the one hand can reduce the need for attendant care staff to provide some of those services, but at the same time, it just increases that sense of empowerment. And then again, we'll see technologies that are designed for older adults and with older adults. And I think I want to second that sentiment of the importance of co-design. That's key to how AgeWell does things. And for example, virtual gym was one solution that was co-designed with older adults. It allows for tailored exercises delivered on a screen, and you can have an occupational therapist or a physiotherapist look at your progress there and guide you through exercises. You can see robots, as you'd usually expect with technologies, doing things like helping move things upstairs. And I won't focus on the more long-term care piece, but there's certainly innovations there as well to support caregivers and increase the level of dignity in things like bed-to-bed transfers that we're working on. And as I know we're tight on time, I just want to finish up by speaking to something that we're really focused on now. When we see all these startups showing up in Canada, yes, we want to draw attention to them. But as was discussed in the Q&A after the pitches, it's also important to help them make those connections. And that is something that AgeWell has been endeavoring to do through our broad partnership network. But we found that when you can make the right introductions for these startups, they are then able to design better solutions and also to be in a position to scale up. So I'll just finish off by saying our goals going forward are really to support the implementation of these technologies and innovations in a way that's going to be scalable and increase buy-in in the sector. So you may be developing an innovation for consumers directly, or maybe in conjunction with other service providers. But irrespective of how you do it, we want to help these startups navigate that path the right way, so that we move away from pilots and kind of small scale impact to really Canada-wide impact as well. And I will leave it there. Thanks for listening.